All right, welcome in. Ageless Talk Sports. Welcome. It's UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena, and really excited for this. Hopefully you guys are too. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking, all you new people, all the returning people. All right, let's get into it. So we got some UFC 315 headliners and top news right now. Valentina Shevchenko, she reacts to the disrespect of Manon Fiorot. I think that's how you say her name. Manon Fiorot, the Canadian. Now, this happened last year. We're not going to get all into it, but she's really pissed off about calling her out and said she was going to retire the bullet, according to SB Nation MMA F. So it's going to retire. She said she's going to retire. Shevchenko took offense to that, didn't like it, rightfully so. Both fighters need something to get themselves aggression going. But I think Valentina is using this to fire the fuel here to knock out this Canadian in Canada, which would be pretty cool. Title fight, by the way. So looking forward to that. We're going to get our picks in here in a second. But that was some headlines. Taking a look at another headline. Ilia Topuria, they're going to reveal UFC 317, the fight details. It looks like El Hormagario as opponent hinges on the UFC 315 results. So they were talking about Islam Makhachev, but Ilia Topuria's fight anticipation, we don't know who is going to fight him, but there is potential fighters here with Makhachev and El Hormagario's announcement here. So coming up to 317, who knows what's going to happen. Rumors suggest he may fight at UFC 317 on June 28th, but we don't know yet. While there are strong indications that Ilia Topuria will be fighting on June 28th, no official announcement has been made as of yet. Fans are eagerly awaiting right now, and who will he fight? And it might be Islam Makhachev, but depending on what Belal Muhammad does in the main event on UFC 315 coming Saturday night at 10 o'clock, the fighter returns after 5-year absence on UFC 315 main card. Now, there was a guy that dropped out, and this is going to be the first fight on the main card, but Kyle Propalik, the Canadian, his nickname is Killshot, coming off of Samara MMA lightweight belt back in 2021. And he hasn't fought in forever. He's 35 years old. But he's put together an impressive 3-fight run, first round finish to once again attract the attention of the UFC. So Saint Denis looks to rebound in Montreal. And this dude's coming out of nowhere in Canada to fight this dude. So props to him, though. Props to him to come out and, at least get a chance and a spot in a main card to fight Benoit Saint Denis from France. And then he's at a minus 1,000, and Kyle Propalik at a plus 650 as of right now on a Thursday night. So kind of interested to see what happens there. So this is for a UFC, this is for a short, YouTube short. So Charles Oliveira, 5'10", 35 years old, fighting as a lightweight division. Just come off a unanimous decision November 16th, 2024 against Michael Chandler. Has the most finishes in UFC history with 20. So who has the most finishes in UFC history? Now we're taking a look at UFC 315. And here we go. I hope you guys are ready for this. We're going to be doing I'm going to transition here. So coming into bantamweight, Brad Katana, he's coming off of the Ultimate Fighter from last year. He's at a plus 154. And Bezak Almakhan from Kazakhstan is at a minus 185. He's a favorite. I think Katana's due. He's going to be grappling. We know that. But can he mix up his punches to take it to the ground and get the finish? I think he does. Katana gets the win. And we're doing, okay, Lee Santos over the Korean. It's a pick'ems. Who knows what's going to happen on that one in the featherweight. Santos, give me that one. Andre Baralt versus Bruno Silva. And looking at the BetMGM, minus 150 for Baralt, the Canadian, and Silva's a plus 125. Give me Canada. Just listened to a podcast with Navajo Sterling in it, coming out of the New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, fighting Urslan. So Sterling seems like he's ready to go. He's been fighting for a while. He's a big-time kickboxer. Watch out for the Muay Thai. Watch out for the clinch. Watch out for the takedowns. And an excellent, excellent scrambler. So Sterling at a minus 325. Give me that. Now we're going to go into the light heavyweight fight. Bakuskas, Lithuania versus Moldova, Kudaleba. And I'm taking Kudaleba all day, every day on this one. But it's a pick'ems as well, at a minus 115 and a minus 105. And then Jessica Andrade. She's a legend in the women's flyweight. She's been around for a long, long time. She's fifth in the flyweight division. Number 9, Jasmine Jasudavicius. I don't know how to pronounce her. I just listened to her talk earlier this morning, and I still can't pronounce her name. But Jasmine in Canada, she's actually from right there by Niagara there in Montreal. But I think she lives about 5 hours away, so it's not too bad. She's a chill chick, but she's an aggressive fighter. She likes being alone. I just listened to her whole thing. She did a whole little bio on her, which was pretty cool. So she's at a minus 290. And we're going to go with Jasmine on this, even though she is a favorite. I think Jessica Andrade is going to be tough on the feet, but Jasmine's going to look at take her down, maybe come in a Kimura and finish her. Might go decision. Who knows? Not picking, but I am taking Jasmine. Going into Mike Malott and Charles Radke. The last fight on the prelims. Malott is at a minus 170, and Radke, the American, is at a plus 140. And just give me Radke, just because it's American. Canada has to get at least one loss on this UFC 315. So now we're going to go into the main card. And we just talked about Kyle Propalik coming out of nowhere. Hasn't fought in the UFC in over 5 years. So Benoit Saint Denis, taking a look at him, because that's who I'm picking. His name is the God of War. Just come off of a win. Actually, no, he lost. Taking a look at his fight history here. He's like back-to-back losses. He's 0-2. There's a doctor stoppage that happened back in September. And then Dustin the Diamond Poirier knocks him out in the second round back in March. So he's coming off of 2 losses back in 2024. But he did get a win back in November 11th of 2023. Gets a knockout. So out of Nimes, France, is where he fights from. Came in a pro since 2019. 4 wins by knockout, 9 by submission, 7 first-round finishes. And we'll see what he can do, even though he's coming off of 2 losses. That's tough. That's really tough. So taking a look at the number 1 and number 5 women's flyweight bout here. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. 2 pretty girls, by the way. Mexico and Brazil. If you want to go off looks, Silva's, man, I'm telling you, Alexa and Natalia, so it's going back and forth and back and forth. She won against Arajo. She won against Wood. She won against Barber. I mean, Grasso's on a tear here. She hasn't lost before that since September 21st back in 2019, if you want to take Shevchenko out of it. So she's been on a tear. She's doing really good from Guadalajara, Mexico. Turned pro back in 2012. She had a 4-0 record in Invicta. 5 first-round finishes, 7-3-1. 3 of her 4 knockouts ended in 36 seconds or less. She won Fight of the Night and Performance of the Night in Invicta. Back in 2012, she turned pro. So I really like Grasso. I like her a lot, and I think she's going to get the win here. She'll probably actually get the finish. And if she's not dating anybody, have her call me or message me on DM me on Instagram. That'd be pretty sick. Anyway, going into my last three-legger parlay here. Jose Aldo versus Aman Zahibi. So Aldo's actually favored at minus 218. Zahibi, the Canadian, is plus 180. Give me Aldo. He's been up and down in the UFC. Of course, everybody remembers the Conor McGregor knockout. But Aldo lost his last fight, split decision, October 5th last year. He won in May of last year, and then he didn't fight for a couple years after coming off a unanimous decision against Valishvili back in 2022. So taking a look at this, was unbeaten in WEC, 8-0, 7 finishes. Guy was a freaking beast. Awarded first UFC featherweight championship belt in November back in 2010. Made 7 successful UFC title defenses during his first reign. 17 wins by knockout, 12 first-round finishes. Lost to McGregor, we just talked about, and had previously not lost since 2005. Won 4 of his last 6. Inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame's Modern Wing in 2023. Coming back to try to make a title run, and I think he will get this win against the Canadian. Now, women's flyweight title shot. Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot, plus 124. So Shevchenko is actually coming off of an underdog, and the French girl is actually favored at a minus 148. We'll take a look at this French girl real quick. Her nickname is The Beast. She's coming off of a win against Blanchfield. Taking a look at her previous fights. Coming off a win against Rose. Coming off of a win against Sermenara. These are all unanimous decisions. Kind of taking into account what we're going to do in our picks. If we make a decision on the finishes or if it goes to decision. Turned pro back in 2018. She lost her debut and was unbeaten in 12 fights since. She's on a 6-fight knockout streak, 1 first-round finish. She's won 2 fights in EFC, the Fighter Season 2 in 2019. And then the reason why she got her nickname is because I look like a beast when I fight. And that's the Beast. There you go. Now taking a look at Shevchenko, the Bullet, which last season she was actually on the Ultimate Fighter, which was pretty cool. Grasso was as well. And we talked about Grasso versus Shevchenko, back and forth. Decision, split, and sub when Grasso shocked the world March 4th back in 2023. And before that, she beat Santos. She beats Murphy. She beats Andrade in the second round. She beats Maya. She beats Sermenara. She meets Carmouche. She's been on a tear. She's been on a freaking tear. I always thought she was from Russia, and it's Kyrgyzstan, by the way. My bad if you guys thought she actually was from Russia. So she turned pro back in 2003, a long time ago when I graduated high school, by the way. 7 wins by submission, 4 rear naked, 2 arm bars, Ezekiel choke, 8 by knockout. She has won 17 of her last 21 and 10 of her last 12, made 7 successful title defenses. Going to be in the Hall of Fame. She's legendary. 6 first-round finishes. She's a freaking beast. So, is the wear and tear getting to her? That's the question I have. Is Valentina Shevchenko's wear and tear getting to her at 24-4-1? But I think the Bullet, I don't think so. I think she has at least probably 5 to 10 fights left in her, even though she's getting a little older. But she's still not that old. Still not that old. So, we'll see what happens. 37. Well, I guess no. 5 fights. Maybe 3 fights. 3 to 5 fights left in her. But we're going into the welterweight title fight here. Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Palestine versus Australia. The Palestinian is at a minus 205. We talked about it last week. Is he going to bring out the flag? Is he going to have it with the Palestinian flag? Probably. I'm not sure. Taking a look at Jack. 12 wins by knockout. Taking a look at his previous fights. Pretty much beat up on Holland pretty quick. And it went to the split decision. Gets Gilbert Burns out of there in the 3rd round. Most of these fights go to a decision. Split decision. He got a submission. Got a KO. The previous fights, as he fights higher ranked guys, goes a decision. Now, Gilbert Burns was an exception, but it was split decision throughout. Coming out of Australia, pro in 2016, started pro at 0-2, so he lost 2 fights in a row. Was wondering what was going on. Then he goes on a 16-fight tear. Good. We're going to see how good his grappling is. So Bilal is a beast in grappling, and I think his stand-up's pretty much better than Madalena's as well. So remember the name Muhammad. Taking a look at his title run here against Edwards, decision, against Burns, decision, against Brady, KO, second round back in 2022. Luca beats him. Wonder Boy beats him. Damian Maia beats him. So he's been a dominant champion so far. Looking good. And I think he remains that way. He turned pro back in 2012. 5 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, 1 first-round finish. Has won 9 of his last 10. Last pre-UFC win was 4th round TKO, tough 21 against Steve Carl back in 2016. Fun fact there. So, anxious to see what happens. There's your picks. I got Bilal knockout in the second round. I think he's going to finish him pretty early, get him out of there. But it could be a grappling match and go all the way to decision. 2 guys rolling around on each other until the end. So, 2 flat-faced dudes, by the way, which is hilarious. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Love you guys. God bless. Tip the waitress.